Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 of our front-end masterclass. This is a really exciting day because we are starting CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheets. For the past 3 days, we have been building the structure and content of websites with HTML. You have learned to create headings, paragraphs, lists, links, images, and forms. But I bet you have noticed that everything looks pretty plain. Just black text on a white background, right? Today, that changes completely. CSS is what transforms plain HTML documents into beautiful, professional websites. By the end of today's lesson, your websites will have colors, custom fonts, and professional styling. CSS is where the magic happens. It's where you get to be creative and make your websites look exactly how you want them to look. So today, we are covering the fundamentals of CSS, what CSS is, and how to add it to your HTML, basic CSS syntax and how selectors work, working with colors and backgrounds, typography, fonts, font sizes, and text styling, and also how to organize your CSS code properly. By the end of today's class, you will transform your plain HTML pages into styled, professional-looking websites. Okay, without wasting much time, let's get started. Okay, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Think of HTML as the structure of a house, and CSS as the paint, decorations, and interior design that makes it beautiful. CSS controls everything about how your website looks. Example like colors and backgrounds, fonts and text styling, spacing and layout, animations and effects, responsive design for different devices. Okay, how can we add CSS to our HTML? There are 3 ways to do that. The first one is inline CSS. Okay, let me show you two. Actually, let me start. Let's say day 4 intro to CSS, right? Okay, so the way inline CSS works is that, let's say we have this element h1, right? Let's say this is a heading, right? So let's say you want to change its color or something like that. So in order to do it using inline styling, right, you have to do it inside the opening tag of the element. And the way you can do that is right here. You give the space. It works just like an attribute, right? So as you can see, the CSS properties are already displaying. This is the powerful Emmet abbreviation on VS Code, right? So let's change the background color, or let me change the color actually. Okay, great. Oh wow, can you see that? We have changed the color to red. And let's change the font family too. Let's say, look, I have Lato and Poppins and other fonts installed on my system, so I can use them directly, right? So the way I can do that is like this: font family, let's say Lato. Yeah, I don't know what's happening in my browser. Okay, can you see that? Let me change it to this, and you can see. Can you see that? So this is the first way of styling your CSS. You can use inline style inline CSS styling, but this is not recommended, right? It works, but it mixes content with styling and becomes hard to maintain. So the second one is internal CSS, and the way you do that is, let's say we have this let's say we have h2 element right here, say about me, and the way we use internal CSS is, as I've been doing in the last videos, I think is in the day one video lecture or something like that. The style will be wrapped inside the heading element. Okay, so let's say color, sorry, I didn't select it, h2, right? Color blue, blue violet, right? Can you see that? So this keeps all styles in one place within your HTML file. It is good for single page sites, right? And also the third one is external CSS. This is the best practice. Create a separate file in your default code and say your default folder and name it, let's say styles, sorry, style, and the extension for CSS is .css, right? Okay, there we go. So now let's say we want to increase the size of our heading, the h1 element. So let's say font size 24 pixels. Actually, let me zoom it, right? Let's say 50 pixels. Okay, nothing happened, right? So you are gonna link it inside your HTML, inside the head still. So here, so let me just comment this out since we are done with it, right? So let's say the way you could link it is like this: link rel and then style sheet, right? And href. By now I know you already know what href is, right? Hyperreference. It points to where the file is, the location of the file. So they are in the same folder. I will just call style.css, right? Okay, can you see that it already worked, right? Okay, this is how it works, right? So external CSS is best because you can use the same styles across multiple pages. It keeps your HTML clean and focused on content. It's easier to maintain and update. It loads faster for visitors, right? So you have already know how to set up your CSS file, right? So right now we are gonna dive into CSS, its fundamentals actually. Let's learn how to write it. CSS has a specific syntax that's different from HTML. Okay, the basic syntax of it is, it looks like this, something like this: selector, right? Then property, and then value, and then this semicolon. This is how it works actually, right? As you can see in our heading element above, we selected the h1, right? And then the selector tells CSS which HTML element to style. And now here above this we selected h1, right? The property here, property font size, what aspect you want to change, color, size, or something like that. And here we want to change the font size, right? So font size, and then the value, how you want to change it. You see the 50 pixels. Okay, so right now what curly braces do is it wraps all the styles for a selector, right? As you can see, we can add as many properties as we want inside of that curly brace. Let's say you want the font family to be actually let me remove the one I styled here, right? The inline styling, or let me comment it out, okay, and create a new h1 element right here. This is main heading, right? Main heading. Okay, so as you can see, the font is already, I don't know which font is that. Okay, but let's say I want to turn it into let's say font family Poppins. You can find all these custom fonts on Google Fonts. Just type fonts.google.com and you will search the name of font you want. Okay, here let's say background color slate blue. Okay, there you go. Let's set the color to white. Okay, can you see that? Actually, let me create more elements. Keep in mind this CSS syntax here. This is the first thing you learn when trying to master CSS. Its syntax, the selector, curly brace, name property value. Okay, so let's say we have another element, paragraph, right? And let me style it. Let me style it too. Let's say font style. Okay, italics. Can you see that? And the font size should be 16 16 pixels, right? Okay, yes, that's the default one. Let's set 24. There you go. And the color, actually, let's set the color to red. Okay, these styles, let me tell you something. You see, we targeted p element, right? So as for that case, it will style all paragraph elements in our page as well as the h1 too. This is how it works. So in order to not make it like that, let me show you an example. Actually, let's say we have another paragraph. Okay, second paragraph. You see, it also comes with the same style as the above one, and also h1. This is second heading. You see, so in order to separate them, we have something called classes and IDs. And the way classes works is it lets you style specific elements. First, add a class to your HTML element. Let's add the first paragraph. It has a class. It's an attribute actually. It has a class of the main heading. Let's say main heading. And this paragraph here, let's say intro. It has a class of intro, right? So in order to style them, you need to select them like this. For classes, we use the period and then the name. The name for our heading is the main heading, right? And then copy these styles and paste them inside. Okay, actually let me delete this one. So as you can see, it's only the first one that is being styled. The second one, nothing happened with the second one, right? But if to say I added, if to say it's h1, right, it will apply to all of the heading elements in the HTML file. So this is how it works. And the paragraph, let me show it to you. The first one, let's say, let's start the intro. Let's say dot intro. Okay. Can you see that the second paragraph goes back to the default styling? And the second one, actually, let me give it a class of highlight, right? So let's say dot highlight font weight bold, right? I hope you're seeing the shortcuts I've been using in VS Code. So if you're a VS Code user, you simply can use them too, but make sure you understand them first before using shortcuts. Okay, so let's say, actually, let me change the content of the second paragraph to this. This paragraph is highlighted. Okay, so the highlighted paragraph, let's say font, let's set its font family to Arial, and also the font size to 16 pixels, or let me write 18 actually. Okay, can you see that? Can you see the difference? Classes are reusable. You can use the same class on multiple elements. And how do we do that? Let's say this second heading here also has a class of main heading, right right can you see that? So let's say you want to style it, and the way you do that is h2 dot intro. Okay, you indicate the element, and then it's just, you see different elements, same class, and it could work actually. The font family, actually, let's say font family cursive, right? Cursive, and then font style italic. I don't know why that's not working, but let me check. Okay, sorry, it's not intro, it's main heading. You have to be careful with your class names and IDs. Okay, can you see that? The second one is now in italicized, and the font family is different too. So this it, okay. Let's say, okay, actually, let us learn about IDs. They are for unique elements in HTML. Use ID sparingly only for unique elements that appear once per page. Okay, so the way IDs work is that, let's say you have this, so let me format the document using my Prettier extension. Actually, let me zoom the code for you guys, just as I did yesterday. Okay, can you see that? I hope you can see clearly. So let's say we have section. You already know this element, right? Section dot, okay, sorry, hash about, right? And we have h1 dot about heading. Let's say about me. right? Let me change this content here, so to second heading. Okay, can you see the about me there? So let's say we have this paragraph. Let me generate a dummy text like 500, like that. If you are using SPCK editor to, you could generate that. I don't know about AirCode or something like that, because I normally use SPCK editor on Android devices. Okay, so let's say we have this about me section, and let's say we have a link up here, actually an internal link. You already know that, right? Let's say about, let's say about me. If you click on that, you see it took you to the about section, right? You can see how internal links work here, right? The clear examples. Now let's style this thing. Let's style the about page. For the about, let's say about. Now why I am gonna use this is that if I set section direct, it will target all the sections in the page. You already know that, right? So let's use the ID of that element. Let's say background. Let me give it some gray color, okay, or CC. And we will learn about this in a minute. For now, let's focus on this. Okay, so now you can target, you see these elements inside the section. We have inside the about section, we have these two elements, the h1 element and the paragraph, right? You can be able to target it like this: about, then h1, and all the h1 elements inside that about section is gonna inherit this style. Let's say it has this blue color, okay, and it's also mm, let's say foreign, right? I gave it a style of foreign. Okay, can you see that? And we can also target the paragraph. Let's say maybe line height, uh, let's say 0.5. Can you see that? The default one is, the normally used ones is 1.5, okay, or 1.2. You use whatever you want. So that is it. And also, let's create a navigation menu actually above here. Let's create this navigation. Right, home, about, contact. Okay, can you see them here? So now let's say you want to style this link inside the list items, and the way you can do that directly is just say nav, right? and target all links inside this nav element. So whether it's a direct child or whatever, it's gonna style it. Let's say text decoration. Let's set text decoration to none. Right? You see the changes. The underline is gone. Or I could also say line through. Can you see that? But let's just leave it as none. You can also target the LIs. And let's say padding. You will learn about all of these properties in a minute. For now, let's focus on the selectors, teaching you how the selectors work. Okay, let's say let's set the background so that we see it. Let's say background red, and then margin 10 pixels, color color should be white, right? Oh, sorry, you cannot be able to change the color like that. You have to do it here. Okay, there you go. We can also remove the list, the another list, the bullets, by selecting the UL element and then say list style to none. Okay, there you go. So this is how it works, right? You can also select multiple elements. Okay, the way you do that is, let's say you want to actually, let's say, what can I give example with? Let's say you want to style both the LI and also the A, right? But they're not the same. Okay, actually, let's say we have a logo here, h3.logo, and a shortcut for creating a class is you could just say dot logo h3, the element, and then the class name. Can you see that? You can do this even on SPCK editor or Aircode or all of these text editors, modern text editors like that. So let's say logo. So let's say you want to target the logo and the link elements. But the way you can do this is nav and then dot logo and also nav a, right? Let's color them black or blue, or actually pink, right? Can you see that? Let me change this background into gray, dark gray, so that you see it clearly. Okay, there you go. This applies the same styles to all of the two elements that we selected. Okay, so now let's work with colors. Colors are one of the most important aspects of web design. CSS gives you several ways to specify colors. And the first one is hexadecimal colors. CSS recognizes 140 color names. The common colors are red, blue, green, yellow, orange, purple, pink, brown, black, white, and gray. So you can set color in CSS using the hexadecimal colors. Hexadecimal colors gives you millions of color options. For example, the way I've been using here, this is hexadecimal color. This gray one Okay, can you see that we don't have to type the color gray? Okay, so now let's say because there is also an inbuilt color picker in CSS. Just highlight just highlight on top of the color that you wrote, and you can select something directly. In this middle, you can see the hex color H2, and the way hex colors works is it starts with a hash followed by six characters which must be between 0 to 9 and A to F. You can find hex codes using color pickers online, or just this one here, the inbuilt one, the VS Code. So we also have RGB colors. RGB uses red, green, and blue values. The value will range from 0 to 255. So the first one, actually let me style this main heading to red using RGB. Okay, instead of black, let's say color, let's say RGB 255, and then comma, and then comma. Can you see that this is the RGB code for red, color code for red. And let's set the background color to blue. Actually, instead of this slate blue, let's say RGB 0, 102, and 204. Okay, can you see that it's now blue? We also have RGBA. The first RGB stands for red, green, blue, and RGBA stands for red, green, blue, and alpha. It adds an alpha channel for transparency. 0 is transparent and 1 is opaque, right? So let's say we have this overlay element here. Let's say dot overlay, div class overlay. And the thing we say, if you just type dot and then the class name without giving in the element first, without writing the element first, it's gonna be a div actually. So let's say this div is empty, right? Let me show it to you how it works. Dot overlay, okay. Actually, let's say position absolute top. You're gonna learn about all of this stuff in a minute, okay? For now, just look at what I'm trying to explain, okay? And the width should be 100%. Let's set the color, the background color, RGBA. Can you see that? 0.1, or let's say 0.5 actually. Okay, can you see that? What overlay do is that actually covers all of the place, all of the page. You can see this position upload absolute is gonna position it directly on top of HTML file, outside of our HTML file, into the browser heading, right? So this is how it works. And we also have HSL colors, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. Let's style the H1. Okay, let's create another heading actually. Let's say we have this H1 dot h1 dot, let's say just say HSL. Okay, let's say colored using HSL color. Okay, now let's say dot HSL. We select it like that, and then the color should be so let me comment this out for now. Okay, what is this element? Okay, here it is, right? So let's say the color should be HSL. The first one is hue. As you can see, the format, right? The first one is hue, saturation, and then lightness. Okay, okay, let's say the hue should be 240, and then saturation should be 100%, and then lightness should be 50%. Okay, we have created a blue color using HSL, right? So these are the ways of adding colors into your CSS file, right? How to style your HTML, and what is the, sorry, I mean, what time do we use each among them? We use online color pickers or tools like Adobe when choosing color. And when setting colors, you consider color psychology. For example, blue is trust, red is urgency, and green is nature. And make sure, ensure good contrast for readability. Test colors on different devices and see how they look. Okay, so this is all about colors. Let's start about typography and text styling. Typography is crucial for readable professional websites. CSS gives you complete control over how text appears, right? I've already started showing you font family, font size, and things like that, right? Actually, let's comment those out for now because we don't need them. Okay, we don't need them for now. Let me comment this one out too. Oh, I'm gonna leave this one actually. Okay, okay, we use font size. Let's see, in this one here we have a font size property. Let's see that font size, and it accepts values, as you can see, large, small, large into extra small. If you want, you could choose them, but you could also decide to add the size on your own. Let's say 16 pixels. Can you see that? Common units we use is pixels, and there is also AM, which is relative to parent, and there is rem, which is relative to the root of the HTML. We also have percentage. Okay, let me show you how to use all of them actually. This is percent, right? This is pixels. Let's say, let me comment it out and say font size 3 rem, actually m first. And the way this works is, as you can see, this one is connected to the root of the, okay, 1m, right? This is equal to 16 pixels depending on how you style it. Let's say we have our root element HTML. Let's say okay, font size, and the font size is 3rem, right? Can you see that it is relative to the root element, directly relative, right? And we also have the rem property, the rem value, like this. Can you see that they're almost the same but not the same actually? 1.3 depending on the size of the root element. Let's say 1. Default is 1, right? As you can see, it's now set to 1. Okay, we also have percentage. We also have percentage, and the way we use this is, let's say 30%. This is relative to the parent actually. I see that. Just so you know, you can also use all of these elements. So that's all for font size. Actually, let me leave it 1m. Okay. We also have font weight, right? Font weight. As you can see, this is the values. 700 is bold, is the same thing as bold, right? While 400 is the same thing as normal. Let's try that out. Say bold. Can you see that it's already bold? Let's say font weight normal. Okay, I hope you spotted the difference. We also have font style, which allows you to select whether the text should be italic. I've been using that, right? You can see italic, normal, oblique, and initial. But the most used ones are these 3. Okay, let's say italic or oblique. Okay, we also have font family. Actually, this is the first one. We are supposed to start with it. Font family, which selects what font you want to use. Can you see the options they have given us up there? Let's say you want to use Vertana. Okay, you can also make a fallback color, fallback font, which if they didn't find the first one, then it will use the second one. Let's say sans serif. Let me try a font that is not here. Let's say, actually, let me just write something different. You can see it font back to sans serif. But let's say, let me actually write this. Okay, can you see that? Now they didn't find the Halloween, so they used the second option. So this is how it works. Now let's talk about text alignment. We have this property called text alignment. It looks like this. Text align. You can see center and justify. Let's try with center. Can you see that it centered the text? We also have, since it's now by default it's centered In left, let's say right. Okay, can you see that? Okay, we also have start and end. They are all the same, it's just the left and right. Okay, see, it's the same thing with the text align left. So we also have text decoration, which I've used on those links before. Text decoration, you will make it whether dashed or dotted. Or also have line through. Can you see that? So let me center the text. We also have none, right? Okay, this is how it works. We also have transformation, text transformation. We also have text transform property. So text transform. Okay, you can see capitalize, lowercase, none, or uppercase. Let's try the uppercase. And see that it sent our text to uppercase. We also have lowercase, right? We also have capitalized, which I think does the same job with the uppercase. Actually, it capitalizes the first letter in each word, right? You also have this property called line height. I've already used it in that paragraph, if you didn't forget. So this paragraph right here, let me copy it, paste it below. Actually, let me reduce it. Okay, so let's say line height 1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. Oops, I didn't target it actually. It's the P element, right? Okay, you can see it right now. It controls the spacing between the lines of the text. We also have letter spacing between the letters. Let's say, and the property looks like this. Letter spacing, let's say 10 pixels. You can see 2 pixels, 3 pixels, or 1 pixel, which is the default one, I guess, right? Or let's try -1. Okay, it is kind of weird and it's unreadable actually. Now let's try a complete typography example. Okay, let me comment all of those out. Okay, the way we do this is so let me just finish commenting this code. As some of you asked me about commenting, right? The shortcut for commenting a code is to just click and hold your control and then click on the slash. Okay, let's give a general style on the body. Let's say each text should be Lato or Poppins, right? And the fallback color should be sans serif. The font size should be 16 pixels. Oh, what have I done? Okay, 16 pixels, right? Actually, this one targets the paragraph. Okay, let's center each and every text to text align center. Can you see that? And the line height should be 1.5. Okay, there you go. Let me show you how to transform a plain HTML page with CSS. So actually let me create a new HTML file. Let's say John Smith, right? .html. Okay, John Smith, right? And let us change the, so let me run it on my web browser. Okay, this is the active file, right? And I forgot to tell you, you can style multiple web pages with one single CSS file. Let's do that right now. Let's also link this to our main CSS file. Okay, so let's say this page has a header, says John Smith, right? We also have a navigation. Okay, okay. I think this shortcut might work. Okay, there you go. Okay, actually let me comment those styles that we gave on top. So this one's here, let me comment them out. Okay, so we have our plain HTML, right? Let's say we have a main section. Right, we'll have an about section inside of the main. About me, right? P class intro. I'm a passionate web developer. Learning to create amazing websites. Okay, so let me comment out this style, paragraph styles too. Let me comment all of this out. Okay, so we have this plain HTML file. Now let's transform it with CSS. Okay, this is our CSS file, right? Actually, let me comment the body styles too, the general styles. Okay, there we go. So actually let's give styles here. Font family should be Arial, Helvetica and sans serif, right? Let's add the background color to some hexadecimal color code, which is F8, right? F8, F9, F8. Some kind of a white color like that, right? Let's change the color to gray, which is #333, right? Let's give it padding of 0 and margin of 0. We are going to learn about this tomorrow when we start the box model. Okay, so for now don't worry about it. This is the styles for here, right? Let's style our header too. Let's give it, let's say the background should be um, 2C and 3E50. Okay, some kind of a color like that, and the color should be white, right? Just align, should be center. Okay, can we now, let's now start our font family. Sorry, H1. Let's give it a font family of, say, so let me just leave it. Let me just give it font size of 36 pixels instead, and some kind of margin. You'll get to know all of these properties and values, don't worry. Okay, let's style our navigation right now. So nav UL, target the UL element, list style none, padding of 0, margin of 0, right? Let me format the document. Okay, there you go. Let me style the links. Let's say text decoration none, the color should be white. Right, give it a font size of 18 pixels and padding of 10 pixels top and bottom, 15 pixels left and right. Okay, now let's style the hover state of the links. So if somebody hover over one of the links, it should change color to this. Let's say 3, 4, 4, 9, 5. Let's try that out. Okay, it worked, right? Let's style the main. Let's give it a max width of 800 pixels, right? Margin of 40 pixels top and bottom, and auto left, right. Okay, let's give it a padding of 0 top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right. Let's style our about me heading. Let's give it color, this one actually. Then font size should be 28 pixels, right? Border button, the border button should be 2 pixels solid, and then this color 3498 dB. Okay, can you see how beautiful that is? Do the padding bottom of 10 pixels. Okay, there we go. Now let's style the paragraph, which has a class of intro, right? Dot intro, font size 18 pixels, font style italic, right? The color should be some kind of a gray color, 5555, right? The background color should be background color, right? should be EC ECF F1 F0 actually F0 F1, right? And let's give it a padding of 15 pixels. The border left should be 4 pixels solid. Then this color right here. Okay, this transforms the, the once plain page into something professional and visually appealing. Congratulations, you have just learned the fundamentals of CSS. This is where web development gets really fun because you can see your creativity come to life. Tomorrow we'll dive deeper into the CSS box model and learn about spacing, borders, and layout basics. These are crucial concepts that every web developer needs to master. Make sure to complete today's assignment and experiment with different colors and fonts. The more you practice, the better you will get at creating beautiful websites. And please, I'm begging you, it's like only three to four people are submitting their assignments. Please try and do your assignments. It's what makes sure that you understand what I'm teaching. Okay? Submit your assignment before 7 p.m. tomorrow. Can't wait to see the transformations. See you tomorrow for day 5. Goodbye and happy coding.